Hello, you're watching News9 Live. Karnataka votes in a very unique fashion. In over 40 years, no party which is in power has returned with an absolute majority. Surprising, isn't it? This history of fractured mandates is further propelled by the swing seats or what are called flip seats. After certain constituencies were delimited, 84 constituencies have never voted in the same pattern election after election after election. Further, from the looks of it, local issues and faces matter more than the caste, reservations, the issue of Lingayats, and of course, very important, the Modi factor, especially in these swing seats. And this trend might not bode well for the incumbent BJP government, which has seen a spate of exits in the recent times. Now, tall leaders like Jagadish Shettar and Savadi can also have an impact on the Lingayats, who have been BJP's traditional vote bank. Questions that we are trying to address are: Savadi and Shetty's exit, how will it impact results this time around? How strong is the anti-incumbency factor this time? Swing seats, BJP's largest kitty of swing seats in Lingayat bastion, if historical precedents are anything to go by. Fractured mandate this time as well? Well, who knows? We are not punting, we are just saying there is a pattern for almost 4 decades. Will it repeat itself? Will history repeat itself? Let's get into this discussion. In the studio, my colleague Krishna is joining us, and of course, we are joined by Amitabh Tiwari, who is a political analyst, and Bhaskar Hegde, who is editor of TV9 Kannada Digital. Let me first come to you, Krishna. Very interesting, isn't it? Like some states, they give alternate if there are 2 governments, DMK, AIDMK, DMK, AIDMK, right? But then this kind of fractured mandate, I would assume also, signifies that this is a very, very evolved, electorate.
It is, and there's a problem with Karnataka politics, because what was supposed to be their local party, which is the JDS, essentially remained a party of old Mysuru and the Vokkaliga community, and that is the reason why you're having the JDS factor. Unlike Tamil Nadu, where you have a DMK or ADMK, although it is a BJP versus Congress in Karnataka, you have a JDS factor coming into play every single time, and that is primarily because the way local politics evolved in Karnataka was always dominated by the national parties, namely BJP and Congress party, and the local party, which could have become the most dominant player today, the way the DMK and the ADMK is in Tamil Nadu, that hasn't happened in Karnataka, and that is the fundamental reason, I think, why there's always the possibility of a fractured mandate, no matter what wave BJP or Congress, Sudha.
Right. Bhaskar, let me get you in. Bhaskar, I want to know that this is a very peculiar phenomenon, and I think you are the best one, apart from, of course, Amitabh, whom I'll go to. But then why is it for 4 decades, there are some seats, you never know which way they will go?
Sudha, it's a very interesting subject. If you in 83, for the first time in Karnataka, a non-Congress government was formed.
Right.
If you see the result, even in 83, when Ramakrishna Hegde became chief minister, that time also, that was the first time in Karnataka witnessed a fractured verdict. That time, the Janata Party, headed by Ramakrishna Hegde, took the support of BJP, 18 seats, and they formed the government, along with Kantiranga, that was headed by Bangarappa. So what exactly does it mean when a new party enters the scene, political scene? See, Karnataka had never seen a non-Congress government till then.
Right.
So first time in 83, when a non-Congress government was formed, when people tried to experiment with a non-Congress experiment, I think it was some kind of experiment where it likely failed. So as a result, they had to take the help of BJP and Kantiranga, a local party, and they formed the government. This is the first case of fractured verdict. Thereafter, straight away 2004, again, that time what happened, JDS, the Janata Dal S, got 58 seats. So that's the reason I think we saw a fractured verdict then. So now the issue is, why this fractured verdict in Karnataka?
Yes.
I think Krishna has referred to this particular point, comparing with Tamil Nadu. I'll add two more points. See, the major problem with Karnataka is one is JDS is strong. That is not an issue. JDS can be strong because if you see the trajectory of BJP in UP and some of the North Indian states, they gobbled some of the regional parties. They managed to get caste votes into their kitty. But in Karnataka, why it could not possible? The main reason in many of the constituencies in South Karnataka, the very high percentage of voters belong to Vakaligas, even
Yeah.
up to 65 to 70%.
Right.
So when Devegowda is very strong, it's very difficult to convince them and bring them back to the fold of national parties. I think that is the main reason why BJP could not cross 113, the magic figure mark in Karnataka, and as a result, so one is the threat of fractured verdict, because see what happened in 2008 and 2004, JDS won many seats in North Karnataka also. That's the reason why I think fractured verdict was seen. And what you said about the revolving door phenomena,
Yeah.
that's one interesting thing, because this time I don't know
That's
whether
what.
Congress will certainly cross it or Congress may fall short of it. Of course, we have to wait.
Right. You know, Amitabh, like what Bhaskar was saying, that, you know, it is no surprise that the Vokaligas will vote for the patriarch and, of course, the sons as well. But if you go by that theory, so that is set, right? But North Karnataka also, there was a lot of voting for, let us say, the Janata Dal Secular. Now, if you just go by that theory, which is how voters, I mean, if you look at it from the prism of psephology, and considering, Amitabh, your charts are very interesting, by the way, you know, I go through them on Twitter. So I just want to know from you, then Lingayats become a big question mark for the BJP. They have traditionally voted for the BJP because of the strongman Yadurappa. But the way the BJP has treated Shettar and Saudi, do you think this time around there could be a bit of a problem, or you think no, it's going to follow the same pattern that the Lingayats go to the Bharatiya Janata Party?
See, the Lingayats may stay largely with the Bharatiya Janata Party. It is because of the tall figure of Yedurappa ji. Only in 2013 elections, when Yedurappa ji had formed his own party, the Lingayat support to BJP had diminished. In fact, if you go by a CSDS survey, I was on one of the panels, Lingayat support for BJP, they are projecting at 67% this time, which means that the Shettar and the Lakshman Avadi factor may not be denting too much into the Lingayat vote base. And why this is happening, you see. Only BJP can give a Lingayat CM, because the two CM contenders for Congress, one is a Kuruba, Siddaramaiah, and the other is a Vokaliga, correct? Only JDS can give a Vokaliga CM, because Siddaramaiah is favored to become the chief minister, and in popularity ratings, 40% people, as CSDS surveys say, Siddaramaiah should be the CM, whereas only 4% are saying Shivakumar should be the CM, correct? So these communities, these influential communities, if they want to have a slice of the power pizza, they need to back their own parties which can give them CMs.
Right.
Now, if you need to understand why there is a fractured verdict, because history does not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. So I'll just wrap up very
fast.
Go
ahead.
First is, no party has a statewide presence. So JDS influence is limited to 75 to 90 seats, where it has been number 1 or number 2 in the past 5 elections, which is largely the southern Karnataka belt, Old Mysuru and Bengaluru region. BJP's influence is limited to 170 seats. That is why it is never been able to on its own cross the simple majority, because it needs to win 113, which is the majority mark, out of 170, which is a very high strike rate. Congress also is number 1 or number 2 only in 190 to 200 seats, and not all the 224 seats.
Right.
That's number. As Bhaskar ji said, none of the parties here have a an umbrella caste coalition, because Lingayats and Vokaligas are a sort of antagonistic vote blocks. They don't go together, at least in the Vidhan Sabha elections.
Right.
Congress party does not enjoy the support of both these influential groups. I mean, it is not the number one party of Lingayats and Vokaligas.
Absolutely.
BJP is limited to Lingayat and Brahmins,
Yeah.
and JDS is limited to Vokaligas.
Right.
So caste-wise also, nobody is catering to everybody. And the last point is, if you think, if you analyze, Karnataka is the only state where the national parties, which is BJP and Congress, because I consider them as the national parties only, are number one and number two. In no other southern state, Tamil Nadu, they are number three, number four.
Right.
Andhra, they are number three, number four.
Yeah.
Telangana, they are
Telangana.
not number one, number two. Kerala also, they are not number one, number two, as in CPM is there. Correct?
Yeah.
So, because of a regionalism and a sub-nationalism, the voter of Karnataka wants JDS to have a share in the power. And that is why we are seeing a fractured mandate over the past 3 elections. And out of that, 2 times, the single largest party has not been able to form the government.
Right. You know, Bhaskar, I want to, what Amitabh said, I want to ask you something. There is a perception, fractured mandate, there are some seats which we are calling the flip seats, of course. Those seats are very, very crucial, around 84 odd, I think, for the BJP. And therefore, the BJP, would you agree that if the flip seats don't behave, you know, like errant children, do you think that it will be the BJP which will suffer the most, Bhaskar? Because there is a B section also to this question, which is, Amitabh was talking about Brahmins and Lingayats so far as the BJP is concerned. This time around, there is a perception of, you know, this whole BL Santosh versus, you know, Yedurappa. So, do you think that's going to really impact the BJP this time around in the elections?
Sudha, I think Congress tried to give a spin to this particular narrative in the early part of the campaign. But I think they realized one thing, because it may boomerang, and because see, simply focusing only one particular man, that is gentleman Santosh, might not give dividends.
Okay.
So that's why I think they stopped spreading this particular narrative. And about this flip seats issue, it's a very interesting study. Even Amitabh has mentioned, it's a very interesting one. What I realized is, even in the flip seats, see, for instance, coastal belt was never in the BJP's kitty till 1991. Only after Babri Masjid, suddenly, just like a electric switch, they switched over to BJP, and of course they never gone back to Congress. So that's a different phenomenon. Coastal belt has gone to BJP because of communal issue. Okay, number one. Number two, Bangalore city was also in the Congress kitty for quite long time. Perhaps I think BJP's narrative, the urban-centric approach, and various other issues, slowly BJP has captured many of the constituencies in Bangalore. Of course, though BJP's performance was not impressive in 2018, then we will go to up north, that is Kalyan Karnataka and Kuttur Karnataka.
Right.
See, for a very long time, commentators said BJP cannot make a dent into, that is Kalyan Karnataka, that is Hyderabad Karnataka, where a non-Lingayat, non-Vakaliga population could be seen, the tribals and various other small microscopic OBCs. Even there, BJP has made a very quite impressive performance in 2008 and 2013. 2013 and 18, I think BJP did not make that much performance into the Kalyan Karnataka. So now what they are doing is basically realizing the shortcomings of the party in this particular region. What I was told is BJP has going into a social engineering. Social engineering is basically, there are two-pronged approach. One is RSS going to this caste and the politics of this particular caste and the outreach program from the RSS side. That is one. Two,
Right.
getting people on the social service net of both central government and state government.
Right.
This combo effect, the BJP leaders are expecting to help BJP and hope to stop the flip side syndrome this time.
Right. Amitabh, let me ask you this, that, these flip seats apparently, like let's take Udupi for instance. Apparently this time Udupi has gone to a newcomer because the BJP believes in, has believed, is now replicating the Gujarat model, that you give tickets to those who are more deserving, who are young, who are dynamic, etc., etc. But the point is there are two things. One is that the local MLA makes a lot of difference in the sense, in the minds of the voters, that he is hamara aadmi hai, he is ours, we'll vote for him. Number two is that the local and hyper-local issues take precedence. Don't you think that the flip seats, if they behave differently, these two factors could be very, very important, Amitabh?
Yeah, I mean, the local candidate plays a very important role
Yes.
in Vidhan Sabha election. In fact, people are talking a lot about the Modi factor, but the Modi factor does not work in state
Yes.
elections as effectively we've seen in Himachal recently also. And Gujarat is not a perfect example to compare. So, because of the changes in seats, as we are mentioning, Udupi, and some of the exodus of leaders, what happens is that if the local MLA, which is the sitting MLA, does not cooperate with the new candidate and works silently for some other party, then it could amount to trouble for the BJP. See, BJP is trying to impose a high command sort of a presidential sort of or a party system sort of a culture in Karnataka, but it's a fairly different unit here because 1/6 of MLAs of BJP have earlier been in Congress or JDS. So
True.
BJP itself here is not only BJP; it includes a post leaders from
Right.
JDS and Congress. And the flip seats which you are mentioning, 55 are flip seats, out of which 40 are BJP, Congress, BJP. So this time it could be the turn of Congress to win those 40 seats out of those 55.
Oh.
And 29 seats have never voted for the same party in the last 3 elections.
Right.
So those are hanging in the air.
Yes.
And on 60 seats, the victory margin was less than 5%, which
Yeah.
again points to a very close contest.
Right.
And as Bhaskarji mentioned, while BJP is considered a stronger party in urban areas, it has been continuously rejected by the voters of Bengaluru in 2013 and 2018. And that is one of the prime reasons why BJP could not get a majority on its own in 2018 because the voters of Bengaluru did not vote for the party. And
Right.
even the North Karnataka, which is the Kalyan Karnataka or Hyderabad Karnataka,
Karnataka, yeah.
considered a stronghold.
Right.
Congress actually did better than the BJP in 2018 because the composition of the seats is that the minorities and SC/ST population is fairly high there.
Right.
And somehow, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm running out of time, Amitabh. I'm so sorry I interjected in that fashion. Last question to Krishna, my colleague. Krishna, what Bhaskar said and what Amitabh said, to summarize, if the victory margin is so less, okay, and if the victory depends on the local MLA, then all these stars, Kicha Sudeep, Kamal Hassan, what do we say?
Well,
Their movies are good.
there is never a doubt. You're talking about Kamal Hassan, who lost, his own seat in 2021 elections in Tamil Nadu. In May, if I remember, May 2021 was the time it was all over for Kamal Hassan because his last movie release was more than 3.5 years ago, and he diverted his attention to politics. He lost his own seat in 2021. And 2022, there's a movie called Vikram, which went on to become the biggest hit in Tamil cinema. So, Kicha Sudeep and Kamal Hassan will be loved by moviegoers and people, lovers of art in Karnataka throughout. But will them being for their own parties result in a vote share push, for the good or the bad? That's left to be seen, because as you're rightly pointing out, there are bigger factors at play in Karnataka. So we'll have to wait and watch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Krishna. Thank you, Amitabh, and thank you, Bhaskar Hegde, for joining us on this broadcast. Thank you indeed. And for all the news and updates, keep watching News9 Live.